Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Internet. Oh, I forgot that. Hold on a second. 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner. There we go. Had a brain cramp or whatever you want to call it, but given out with the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team, since 2020, our team has reached out directly and indirectly to over 300,000 fathers around the world. Also, I'm a feature contributor on the, and you know what? On the Indie Soup Media Creator Network. Yes, which is a creators network. It's just over a month old, and they already have about 6,000 YouTube subscribers. I have 4 shows on that platform, this being one of them, and I'm also a member of the advisory board. Also, follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. If you want to advertise your business, product, or service on the Morning Vibe or any of the platforms that I host, please feel free to email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And finally, join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Again, email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com to continue the conversations offline. And also, I mentioned that you can catch replays of many of my epic conversations on indiesoupmedia.tv. Buy Blacks National Restaurant Week coming up. It's a spring edition 2024, May 20th to 26th. Next week, we are going to be featuring about 6 or 7 restaurants that are going to be taking part in Buy Blacks Black Restaurant Week. And what I'm going to do is actually show you the homepage of Buy Blacks Black Restaurant Week. Let me see if I can bring it up. Yes, here we go. Here we go. BuyBlacks.com. Their National Restaurant Week, May 20th to 26th, 2024, spring edition, powered by the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. So we're going to be featuring a pile of participants next week. So keep it locked. Monday, Friday next week. If you're into food or wanting to know about the restaurant business from an African-Canadian perspective, please book it now. This is why you want to follow either myself or Ryan on the platforms we broadcast on, so you get notified. Actually, the Monday broadcast is actually already up, so you should have it already. So definitely. So everybody, what do you want to chat about? Actually, I said we have a Freestyle Friday. Yes, Mother's Day is coming up on Sunday. So actually, how many people celebrate Mother's Day? And then how many people are going to be celebrating with their mother or going to call on Mother's Day? And what does Mother's Day mean to you? So, what memories do you have when it comes to Mother's Day? I've been chatting with 1 or 2 mothers this week, and it's been very enlightening, educational, and empowering, some of their stories in regards to motherhood. So what memories do you have of your mother? Do you celebrate Mother's Day? Are you going to contact your mother? Would love to hear if anyone would like to share. Actually, my mother and my dad are in Jamaica, actually. And here's crazy thing. For the longest period of time, because of health challenges, they couldn't go. They were humming back and forth. And about a week ago, saying, "Hey, we're going." I said, "Great, fantastic." So I took them to the airport this past Monday, and they're there. So it's actually my dad's birthday today, and it's my mother's birthday tomorrow. So there you go. They're a few years apart, but they're celebrating their birthday down there. Okay, so Fitness IQ Cam says, "I'll be celebrating with my grandma a bit and avoid social media." Okay. And why are you going to be avoiding social media that day? Or is that purposeful that you're going to avoid social media on Mother's Day? Like to know. Rich, you and I are going to get in contact. I was speaking with Dr. Tachi last night. I said, "Have you got in contact with Rich yet?" Haven't. So that is on my digital notepad to-do list today. I call my mom and Boy Scout troop. Oh, your boys, and send Mother's Day's cards to all the moms of Eagle Scouts from the troop. Mom is 88 and dad passed away a couple of years ago, so it matters a lot to her. That's amazing. And sending Mother's Day cards to all the moms of the troop, that's huge. I love that. That's fantastic. Serena Wills, also my love and prayers to those who have lost their mothers, grandmothers, or ladies in their life that they have lost. It's up and down for me. My mom and Nana both, yes, I know both your mom and Nana have transitioned 100%, but both powerful ladies in your life that you've shared with me and also on the platform a number of times. Fitness IQ Cam says, fourth Mother's Day without my mama bear. Ooh, that's hard. That's really hard. I'm getting a little bit emotional here. Fitness, happy birthday to your dad and mom. Thank you, Fitness IQ. I appreciate that. Roger says, 5 years since my mom passed. Always a sad day, Mother's Day. You know, I won't get too much into it, but Roger and I have been very close for a number of years, and it was a very challenging. I know it's still a challenging time for him, but I'm glad that he shared and I leaned on me in those times. So I really appreciate your sharing about that. And yeah, Mama Bear, Fitness IQ Cam. Drea Rich says, we don't need a day to honor parents. Calling, seeing it, and spending time should just be done, provided you had a good relationship with you. Great point. You know, not a one-day thing, but as much as possible. Like, well, Father's Day is coming up, but you know, especially with my dad, if I don't call him after 2 or 3 days, he'll call me up and say, "What, you disown me?" Actually, I'll give you a very interesting story about myself and my dad. There's many, but there was a few days that I hadn't called him recently, and he called me up and he said, "Good morning, sir." I go, "Okay." He says, "How are you, sir?" I go, "Yes." He says, "I can't refer to you as my son because you don't call me." Ouch! 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 Like purposeful guilt trip. So he sort of put me back in order to stay in touch with him. So he goes, "Good morning, sir." So him being of Jamaican heritage, born and bred there, "Good morning, sir." I went, "Oh, okay." Okay. So it was quite the story. Actually, I'm going to ask Serena. I don't know if anyone else is a mother here, but what's the best thing about being a mother? Some great things about being a mother. I was in conversations this week leading up to Mother's Day. What's some of the best things about being a mother? Would love to know that. And Nixie, any other subjects that people want to chat about today, please feel free to bring them to the platform. We're on the Mother's Day vibe. So if you want to continue that vibe, let's continue that vibe in regards to Mother's Day.
You know, and that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harriet Tubman of the mind.
I am.
I feel like I'm one of the Harriet Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. Now, really, the rappers get all the attention. You know, seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, you know, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room.
Overly sexualized Black folks.
Over like the twerkers and the, you know, just people that, you know, don't always represent the best of us, you know, the diversity, you know, like people like Dr. Vibe. Like everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe. Dr.
Really
Vibe he's trying to do good work for Black people.
Dr. Vibe from Toronto. Good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe. Everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. The men who are also doing the same thing. I see Dr. Vibe in here. He's a great brother. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. He's a smart brother in Canada, and we need to follow smart people. So follow Dr. Vibe. If you see him in the chat, and Dr. Vibe, say your name in the chat so people can see you. I want you to click on his name, and I want you to go follow him, please, because I want these men and women that are doing the right things to get the support they deserve. Hey, Dr. Vibe, how you doing, brother? Again, like I always do, I got to say everybody should go follow Dr. Vibe. He's got a great show. Dr. Vibe, I know Dr. Vibe's got a kingdom because I see your channel. I see you pouring into that every day. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. Look him up, Dr. Vibe, V-I-B-E. He's a great friend of me and my wife, and I love this guy.
Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Bob is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. You know, a lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. Helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Bob is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Bob show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
So we've got the Mother's Day vibe happen. We got a different. Oh, here he comes. The walking man. Look at the walking man with his baseball cap. What's going on?
Yes, I'm good. I'm here. Christian's with me.
Hey, Christian, how you doing?
Good. We already dropped off Jazz.
Yes.
We're walking. Got to go pick up something. But good to see you, Dr. Vibe. How goes it?
Right back at you. How are you and the family?
Very good. Very good. Enjoying this weather. This week has just been, beautiful. Can't complain.
Well, it's a little bit cooler today, but the first part of this week was mint.
Yes.
It was really good. And let me just jump just some other things here. Serena says, good morning, Sora, Tachi, and Rich. Ray says, good morning, everyone. A blessed Mother's Day to all the mothers and those who played the role of the mother, played the role of mother. Yep. Good morning, Ryan. I know 3 Ryans.
Nice.
Ryan Singh, Ryan Knight, and Ryan, who was an intern earlier on this year for us. That was good. And Serena goes, love the Friday walks, Ryan.
Hey, good to see you, Serena.
Fantastic. That is good. So also, actually, as we're chatting right now, I want to celebrate Ryan Singh, because for those who watch the show, actually, Ryan and I ran into each other. We didn't even get a chance for you to talk about did we? Well, we
touched on it. Yeah, a little bit. On Monday.
Well, they actually got coverage in Variety News magazine yesterday.
Whoa, this is ready to take off.
Yeah,
and I think he sent an email out that they got into another film festival.
Yes, and also the film is actually showing at Eglinton Cinema now as of today. So they're in a Cineplex rotation. Yes, they got Cineplex rotation.
So Youth Village, they're actually do mentoring for young entrepreneurs. So we got to partner with them with ACBN to do our project with the Black Entrepreneurship Program. Okay. Which another interesting thing, the Black Entrepreneurship Program due to end in December. So there is a advocacy campaign to, renew it. I saw the Black Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub is trying to get that renewed at $1 billion instead of the $1 billion. Because I think they gave about $400 million the first round. So they want to see that renewed. So they have the survey with a purpose out right now.
$1 billion.
Yes. Okay. So those that have not done the survey, we need to hear your voice.
Let's just hold on that for a minute. We've got a conversation topic. So Dr. Chachi says it could be an agreement talking about the Ray of Hope. It could be agreement with one Cineplex. They also have sponsorship to buy out some nights. We've done that before with her Delta group. She also says there could be a number of factors. Fitness IQ says, but teach them all the aspects of business, saying sales, finances, marketing, etc. And then she says, especially taxes. Of course, she'd say that.
Hey, we'll get you to come in and do a session on the bookkeeping and taxes.
They can't afford her. She's too high up now.
No, we cover it. Detailing Nights covers it.
Can you afford her?
Right, true. I gotta get some quotes.
Yes, I know she's going to be coming at me in the comments any moment now. Serena Will says #Gala King on the move.
Right.
And also,
Gala Walker.
Well, wow, $1 billion.
Yes.
Wow, that's a huge ask.
Absolutely. And so starting later this month, they're going to be doing community consultations across Canada. So I think in each region, so the Atlantic, Central, Montreal, Quebec, mid, kind of western, and then far west in Vancouver.
So is this the Black Knowledge Hub that's based in Ottawa?
Yeah, that Andrea Pierce came on and talked about.
Okay, well, she's no longer with that organization, by the way.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so we'll just leave it at that. But yeah, they did release a survey.
Right, so that's the survey talking about the renewal.
Why don't they come on the Morning Vibe and talk about it?
Good idea. Actually, that is a great idea.
Now, if they want to get it
I was
out
gonna
there,
send a note.
yeah, they should make a move about that. But yeah, so it's well, I know. Well, this is going to be interesting. I'll just say, and it won't go too deep. In light of the current environment, and I'll just leave it at that. It'll be very interesting to see what the masses, the African Canadian masses, how much support they'll give to that idea.
Well, and that's the interesting thing too, is as you kind of promote the survey, you get feedback from, hey, those that are very supportive and those that are not so supportive because of their experience dealing with some of the organizations in the Black Entrepreneurship Program.
Yes.
So these are things, and when they say that, I let them, it's like, yo, the government has to hear all sides. They can't only hear that it was great, they have to hear how it can improve. Otherwise, it's just going to be renewed in the same way, and then people are going to be frustrated again. So we have to tell, especially the Knowledge Hub, what's going wrong, so that I'm hoping the Knowledge Hub will be that bridge to the organizations so that they can give them the information on how they can improve. We don't want it to go direct to the government because some people are trying to email the Prime Minister and the Minister of Small Business. It's like we don't have to go there yet. Like let's talk amongst ourselves first. But things like that we need to talk about. We can't just let it go.
I'm very interested on what emails the PMO, the Prime Minister's office, is getting. I'm very, very curious to know what sort of communication they're receiving on that.
Right.
Okay, well, so Ryan, let me ask you: Do you feel, I'm putting you on the spot here? Do you feel that the ask for $1 billion is justified?
Yes, but it has to be a coordinated ask. It can't just be $1 billion for the sake of saying $1 billion. We have to show what was the money spent on, how was that impactful to the Black community, and then why more money is needed and what it be used on. Because, hey, we have to be honest, if there's bad apples that are causing people to get anxious about giving money, we have to show how the money is going to be stewarded well. And that way we advocate and they don't feel anxious about giving us more than before. Because at best, they were probably going to give less if they were going to renew it at all. And that was kind of, we shot ourselves in the foot. So we have to really, if we're asking for that much, put together a strong campaign and survey and report that shows the effects and what $1 billion could then do for the Canadian economy.
I think this is a very interesting conversation because I'm sure everyone has, especially from African Canadian perspective, their comments on how the entrepreneurship fund has resulted. Like you get it a lot. I get it almost every day. Like I got someone who gave an earful yesterday about some things.
Oh wow! Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Then let me. Okay, so say the program is renewed. What things would you like to see adjusted?
So if we're talking about what I would love to see change, a big thing would be a central body to coordinate the ecosystem. Right now, like FACE called a meeting with all of us and said they're not going to be the organization to organize us. So that's where the Knowledge Hub at the time wasn't put together. So now that it exists, they should be a central body to coordinate all the organizations in the ecosystem. And I talk about this a lot with Errol Gibbs, who wrote the Black Empowerment Manifesto, about having a think tank, like a Black empowerment Canadian think tank, so that there's a body that actually coordinates all the moving pieces. It can't be that we're just doing our own thing in a silo and thinking that we're having maximum impact. If we don't do it as a coordinated effort, and he always talks about it as a Pentagon for the Black community. So the Pentagon in the US, if you don't know the Pentagon, is what coordinates all military activity. So the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, like all the different factions report to the Pentagon, or the Pentagon then sends out strategy. We don't have something like that in the Black community, where all of our data and all of our intel goes to a central body. They're able to dissect that data and then, send out strategy to each person. And this is across all themes of the Black community, whether it's health, education, justice. ACBN's more in the economic empowerment theme. We all intersect, but we all don't talk to each other. So we don't know how we influence other sections of the Black community. We need something that would actually coordinate that. And when you have that thing, that's where the money spent is more focused and actually impactful, because it's not individuals just spending money. It's an actual coordinated effort. And this is, oh my gosh, I think Dr. Amos Wilson talks about this. What is it, Dr. Amos Wilson? Yeah, where individuals all in a stadium is not wealth. It's like the coordination of all of us working together is actual wealth. So just because we have money, if we're not working together, we're not actually building wealth in the community. We have to intersect and create those collaboration.
Ray says, that's great academic postulation, Ryan, but first you need commonality to make that effective. How will that commonality be achieved? Because, and I'll add on to that, and Ryan and I go back and forth, I don't use that C word. The C word that I don't use because I don't think it exists. Community. I think there are neighborhoods. So Ray is asking,
yes.
How will that commonality be achieved?
And Ray is 100% right in that the commonality doesn't really exist yet, especially to the level that is needed. So for example, and somebody showed this to me, like that word community that you don't like is because it's communications and unity, like those two words put together. And we don't have a proper definition of unity, and we don't have proper communications amongst each other. So if we don't have proper communications and we're not united, there's no way we're going to have community. So before all of this money flowed out and all of this programming got put together, there should have been a specific initiative to create that commonality. Because if we did, that way we would know exactly what everybody's working on, where there's duplication, where there's redundancies and organizations that don't need to exist, or they could be merged into other organizations that already do what they do. So when we don't have that strategy, then money just gets kind of thrown into the wind and we hope for the best. So for us as community leaders, I've been trying like my best to get all the funded organizations meeting on a regular basis. We do the national conference, the Black Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Conference, which is again coming up in October. But when you request for organizations to be part of the steering committee, only 6 or 7 put up their hand. So it's not top of mind for some of the organizations to be part of community planning. Like, yes, all of our projects are important, but to me, it's more important. And the win is actually all of our organizations being able to work together. If we don't figure out how to create that, exactly like Ray said, that commonality, that we're working as one cohesive unit with one specific overarching message and mission, we're and Errol Gibbs says we're sailboats in the ocean. Everybody is operating on their own with no macro level strategy, and that to me is a waste. So we have to do better, and if we can't come together on our own, nobody is going to do it for us. The government called the funding the ecosystem fund. So if a person emails me and says, I'm too busy to come to a meeting, they missed the entire point of the funding. The funding is to create an ecosystem, a Black entrepreneurship ecosystem. So your individual program is not more important than the overarching ecosystem. And so if you're not willing to collaborate, that's going to go in the report. Like, this is what people don't understand is the organizations that are in charge of reporting on how the actual funding was spent. It's only facts. Like, we can't make up that you attended meetings. We can't make up that you came to the conference or that you were part of strategy sessions for the ecosystem. If you weren't there, that's going to go in the report. So don't be surprised if you don't get funded again. And there's other organizations that have already gotten additional funding because they've been part of the strategic planning.
Ray says one of the challenges may be that those with the ability through mainstream experience, quote, abandon the community, unquote, for whatever reason, and the leadership is perhaps those who are average. I want to build on that, and Ray's reading my alleged mind. I have had conversations with so many people that I know that would add positive value in this, but they've been involved and they said this is a mess, and they've done. There's so many qualified people that are willing to help, but because of experiences, like, what I'm hearing more of? People like that who said, I'm done with the Black community work.
That's rough.
They're saying they're done with it because they've had such a bad experience with it. I just bring it back on. So what do you have to say about, those with the experience and the community for what have abandoned, say, what? We're not doing it. We just can't do with that stuff anymore. This is on top of what they're trying to do, work for and get money for a living, saying, I'm not going to put my energy in something that's dysfunctional, for lack of a better term.
And this is why I'm forever grateful to Ray, because if Ray didn't come to that first breakfast that he had no plans of attending, he saw a random LinkedIn message from a random guy, Ryan, saying, hey, we have this idea for how we can support Black entrepreneurs. And he shows up, and by his grace, there was no breakfast. So I always try to apologize because the restaurant we went to, Black owned, does not serve breakfast. And it's Lord have mercy. So he still stays. He hears us out. There's 6 of us there. And he didn't abandon a young Ryan and his other entrepreneurs that were there and he's been in it. He'll tell you about, I think he was at First Fridays from the beginning. He's been in trying to support the community all the way, like decades. Yet he still took time to come to this new meeting to hear an idea and leaned in. He actually gave that support. The structure, our head office is still within Ray's office, because without that, we would not be where we are today. And this is ACBN, supporting over 6,000 entrepreneurs, getting millions of dollars in grants and, contracts, hundreds of thousands in contracts, because he helped us build that foundation. So when I say we need to listen to our elders and have them mentor us, we have to really humble ourselves. There's so many conversations I have with Ray where I say nothing. I say nothing. I call him like, hey, Ray, I just want to check in. And Ray has something on his mind that would help fine tune what we're doing. And I just soak it all in. I just soak it in. And I say, hey, Ray, thank you. I know you have to run now because he's typically traveling. And I go execute. I was like, yo, you don't know the gems I just got. So I go to the team. It's like, yo, we gotta really fine tune what we're doing so that we're on the right track. This is what every single organization needs to do. If we can't, and they hint, I think CAF can with Floydine hinted at having an elder circle or an elders advisory circle. I created my own mini one. There's 5 elders in the community that I'll call for advice. They don't know they're on a elder circle, by the way. But it's like my own like elders advisory circle that I can call them and just get advice on things that I have no idea about. I'm only 40, well, 41. There are people that have lived this earth for 8 decades, some 9 decades. They have knowledge that we will never have until we get there, and different experiences because they gathered that knowledge in an era that we're not growing up in. We're growing up quite, I would say, privileged, but there's fights that we don't have to fight right now. So if we can't grow from what those did in the past to make this path for us, look at the Black Entrepreneurship Program. That is close to $400 million. There's never been a time in the existence of Canada where the Black community got $400 million at the same time. Over 50 years, maybe cumulatively, but at one time within a 3-year span, we got that much money. And now the next 5 years, people are going to look back on right now and say, what did we do with that 400 million?
Thank you.
We can't complain. We can only show results. There's no time for complaining anymore. We've done the advocacy and we can always do it better. We can lobby better, but we did get a gift, whether it's because of the triggering event of Black men getting killed, or it's because COVID shuts it down and everybody's paying attention to how the Black community is actually suffering. Whatever the circumstances that created the perfect storm, we need to make sure that we leverage this time. We have no excuses, because it's easy for them to say, man, we can't give you 400 million and you're good. By all means, it maybe should have been in the billions, but we can't complain that we did get funding that we need to leverage. And we should have been able to turn this into sustainable funding for ourselves. But here's the catch. A lot of times they give us money and it puts us in a box. So you can't do certain things that would actually create infrastructure for the community. We couldn't use it to start a credit union. So Face got 30 million plus 180 access to a BDC. That 30 million, if they were able to take 15 of it, they could have started a credit union immediately, because PACU, the Pan-African Credit Union, is already in process. They could have put money towards that and we'd have a credit union right now. Long-term positive financial impact. But they're actually out their mouth. They said that we are not allowed to do that. The government itself said in our contract, it says you cannot use the money, any of our 40 organizations that got up to 100 million in total. 2 things we can't do. 1, we can't buy land or buildings. So you're not allowed. It's in the contract and I will show it to you. You cannot use the grant funds to buy land or buildings. So you cannot use it to actually create infrastructure.
Own your infrastructure.
Own it. Okay. You're allowed to rent. So you're allowed to lease. So it's not about, you're not allowed to spend the money on a place to work out of.
But just stop.
Yeah.
So when you lease, you're probably giving your money to someone who is not from the African community. So that
absolutely
going out of that community.
And like 1A, 1B, we actually don't have a bank to park that money. So where does the money even go right off the bat? The money gets transferred to us into a bank account that the Black community does not own. So we have to think money actually doesn't even sit with the Black community. So who's leveraging the money that's sitting in the bank account?
The bank.
Not the Black community. So that's where it would have been important if we could have created our own financial institution, because then the money would actually be able to sit there. They could leverage it, and you could actually loan against. Imagine if ACBN put $1 million into PACU just because it's parked there, they could lend now 10x, so $10 million to the Black community. That's almost exactly what Face is doing with 30 million. So we could have done that with $1 million.
So here's a question from APVADT, says, talk about funding. What's going on with the Big Ideas grant? Apparently, there's still a lot of people who don't know if they were forwarded or they were awarded or declined. And it goes, the applications closed since February, and they sent an email early last month asking for more time. Only a small pocket of folks got a decline notice, but the majority have heard nothing. Do you know anything about that situation?
Yeah, let me know if I'm coming in choppy. But with
Yeah,
the Big Ideas grant, on
yeah.
April 24th, they did send out the mass emails that told people that they were declined. So before April 24th, I think you would have known if you're approved. So if you haven't heard anything, most likely you were declined. But still, you can send an email to them to make sure. And the volume of people that had to be told that they were declined is part of the issue too. They were 100% oversubscribed. They had about $10 million to give out. They got $200 million in requests. So that equaled like about 2,000 applications. So imagine that if only 100 projects got funded, that's 1,900 emails that need to be sent out at the same time, telling people the bad news. So check your inbox or check your spam. April 24th, I believe that's when it came out around 10 o'clock. And again, with FFBC, it's we know that you're overwhelmed, but now they're the organization that can open doors to other funding. Because they're a foundation, their report talked about the little amount of funding that comes from foundations and philanthropy to the Black community. Only 7 cents of every $100 actually goes to Black organizations. So now they're in position to see what the needs are. They got 2,000 applications. They'd be able to see all the different themes that people are working on, connect that to focus on those themes and make that introduction. So it shouldn't be a declined email saying like, hey, here's a list of funds or grants that you can go after. There's already a spreadsheet. Like I created that spreadsheet. So it looks lazy. But if they said, you know what, we see that you're doing a project for youth in the community, these 3 foundations fund projects for youth in the community. We're going to bring your application to all 3, make that introduction for you, and see if we can get you funded through alternative means. That to me is a role that the FFBC can play. And the fact that they didn't is a bit disheartening, but I really feel like they can still do that. They have all this data now. They have 2,000 applications. So that's across Canada. That's like, I mean, that might be all the projects that we need to get done. Now let's play the role of helping those get funded. If their applications were bad, let's connect them to Calabash that has a roster of expert grant writers that can work with the organization, help them fine tune what they're doing, and then make a better application. If it's just the application was amazing, but you ran out of money, let's go find the money. Like the work is not done. If that would have stopped a lot of the people being very pissed off with FFBC that they got declined because we don't register. Like, yeah, there was only 10 million, but because it's our own fund, that's where you almost feel entitled. It's like, yo, but this is for us. This organization is supposed to fund what I'm trying to do. People are really upset. And I have to talk to them like, it's not their fault. Like they have an endowment fund. So also people hear that they got 200 million and think that all 200 million should be available that way. Endowment fund gets invested. So the 200 million, now the interest from that endowment fund is what gets granted out. So the first round is $10 million from that 200 million endowment that they're able to, well, 9 million that they're able to grant out. So people connect the two. They're like, they got 200 million. The email says they got 200 million in requests. What's the problem? It's like, so they need to do a better campaign on exactly what they do.
They have to communicate what they do better. If you're relying, I'll just say this is just me. If you're relying on the government to run your business, you should be running your business.
Yeah, that's problems.
Right?
Right.
Because
government is not in the business of running your company. Yes.
They're not in the business of running your company. They are not in, they're in the business of getting elected and staying in power. So there's some questions for you here. Here's a question. Curious, if the organizations don't receive repeat funding, what does that mean for entrepreneurs and the entrepreneur ecosystem, Brian?
Well, some of the work that they were doing would cease. So that's where, if there's redundancies, the Black entrepreneurs would not feel anything, because organizations like ACBN, we would still be operating. So, for example, if they do, let's say, business consultations and an accelerator to help, because we do an investment readiness accelerator. So if they also did that, there would still be one that exists. And there's a few like business 101, the chamber has one. So if they do something like really unique, like let's say the Black Healthcare Professionals Network, if they didn't get repeat funding, I'm hoping that they put together a strategy to be sustainable long term, because the fact that they're very focused on healthcare professionals, that would cause a void in the support for healthcare professionals. Imagine that website just has to go down that had a directory of healthcare professionals in the Black community. We would have to figure out a way to keep that going. So depending on the work that they do, if it's something very unique that is needed and they don't get repeat funding, they might close, and that would cause a void in it.
So Frequency Event Promotion says, curious for folks in the ecosystem that have made good use of funding. Will these projects or initiatives be refunded, or is the funding one and done?
So how it's currently structured, it's one and done. So it ends December 2024. If they do decide to renew it, they might select few or like specific organizations based on their performance reports. I don't know if that's what they're doing. It looks like, because it's like a macro level funding, like the ecosystem is the overarching fund.
Yes.
And then
Yep.
people apply to that fund. So if they say the ecosystem is going to get renewed, and then they would do applications again, so people would have to submit what they're going to do, and then they would select who gets it. So it might not be the same organizations that get funded again. It could be they say the ecosystem fund is renewed, applications open, and a new crop of people apply, and there's better people out here that'll get the money. But one thing that they did do with the women's entrepreneurship program is they said when they renewed it, only people that got funding before can apply again. So that might be something that they do as well.
Frequency Event Promotions. Ryan, one more question. What 3 words come to your mind from this entire journey from the ecosystem duration so far?
Well, it's in 2 pieces. So the first 3 words is amazing opportunity. ACBN is grateful. And I know that's more than 3 words. But the other 3 words is missed opportunity. We could have done better. Because, or maybe that's the 3. We could have done better.
No. Don't worry. Dr. Tachi can help you on these things and communicate.
Because those organizations that are engaged in the monthly meetings, we go to each other's events, they support putting together the conference. I've learned so much about these organizations that we meet on a regular basis, weekly, and for the Fuller Partners monthly. It's amazing seeing what some of these these organizations have done to support Black businesses. And when I go to their events and I get to talk to the entrepreneurs that they support, you see the impact. So there's amazing work being done. It's just unfortunate that say half, I hear nothing from them. So I don't know exactly. I only can like follow them on Instagram and see their posts, but you don't know exactly how they're doing because they don't come to meetings. And then we don't know how the entrepreneurs that they're serving are doing because you never meet any of them. So that's where it's difficult to say it's all good. It's not. Even if it's 50-50, there's 50% of me. We have been recipients of this money, and ACBN has been stable for 3 years with a team that I love. I love the staff that we work with: Charmaine, Ruben, Chris Beth, Nicola, like even Sophia, and our board. We have like a stellar board now. Lorraine Tellerford came on this show. We've had Sean Thompson before. He's on our board now. Like our board, and shout out to our co-founders like Keisha and Ray and Darren and Derek and Chris Beth, like, and Jody Ann. So ACBN is really blessed, and I would never complain about the position that we're in. It's just I know we can do better, but I understand, you have to take time to understand the work that you've done is good, and I do. But imagine, like I'm thinking long term, imagine all 40 organizations were meeting on a weekly basis to strategize and to say what can we do to leverage what we've gotten to do better, to support other themes of the Black community. We've tried to have those meetings. We tried to have those meetings with the think tank conversations. So I know what's possible, and because like getting guidance from our elders, they show us the way, yet it can't be one person that takes the path. It has to be us collectively that takes the path.
So for the link is there in the chat, but this is the front, and these are all the companies that received money. All of them. Because this is public information. All the different organizations that received money. Now, interesting. One person asked me the other day, one of the organizations that received it was it a basketball program? And they said, what does a basketball program have to do with entrepreneurship? I didn't say, I don't know.
But this is where, because the entity that they use to apply is fine, but the leader of that organization, Abina, is a stellar leader in our community. And she's the one that created the Black Healthcare Professionals Network. So on surface, that's why we have to dig a bit deeper, like reach out to the organization and see what they actually did. It's good to see the list, but we have to connect with them. And that's where it's, I would say, more frustrating when people don't respond. Abina is willing to talk about what they did with the money. Some of those organizations don't even have a phone number on their website.
Thank you very much.
That's what we have to shift. And
thank you very much. So
track it.
So this is the thing. If I'm a media person and I can't get a hold of you, how does someone get a hold of you who needs your services easily?
We have to do better than that. Definitely.
Right? That's what I laugh about it, going, if it's this hard for me and I don't need your services to get in contact, what about someone who needs your service? And if I emailed you, how long would it take for me to hear back from you?
Right.
This is Ray says all community stakeholders need to attend that conference on affordable housing. Very important. Housing is the most basic necessity. I agree on that. Yeah. I 100%. I'm going to challenge any of the ecosystem partners. They probably don't know about it, which is another red flag.
So I'll make sure they know.
Yeah. And then IPV says, Ryan, will there be an official announcement about the recipients of the NIG Ideas Grant?
They did one last time with their investment readiness program grant that they were giving out. So I would assume they would do an announcement again. Actually, they usually post it on their website. So I'm shocked it hasn't been posted yet, but I'm sure the list would be there.
Are you saying no? Oh, big ideas. He said big ideas.
Right.
Yeah. Quick question. Do you know anyone that looks like us that received anything from the TELUS grant?
Tell us no. I saw that list. I'm curious about the Desjardins one. I did hear one person who was a mentee of mine that got funding. He does car cleaning as well. So that was great to hear, but I haven't heard a full list of who got the Desjardins grant either.
So it's okay. I'm going to say this. One of the things that disturbed me is that no one got the TELUS grant, but they have people who look like us on their
pictures of Black people. Yeah, it's like that's symbolism. That is the definition of symbolism right there.
We have to get deeper into this, but one of the things I really want we have to stop. Many of us got to stop thinking that we're a commodity.
Right.
The perfect example. There is. Okay, so look at this. IP says, where in the world do you find these lists? Lost. Reach out to Ryan. He'll direct you.
Yes.
He'll directly. But no, we got to stop thinking ourselves as a comedy. And I'm going to be honest here. Some of this is hard work.
Absolutely.
And you know what? It's not easy. So you got to realize if you're going to this entrepreneur thing, I'm in the battle. I think Ryan's in the battle.
Yep.
It's hard work. Really and truly.
Absolutely.
It's hard work. I'm sorry. Yes. Oh, grants are available. You've got to apply. Grants are available. You got to write the grant. Grants are available. Just because you write it doesn't mean you're going to get it.
It's right. Exactly.
And if you don't get it, do you have a plan B?
Yes. Yes.
And if you get the grant, is that going to provide sustainability for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? Look at this is interesting. For the affordable housing event, is there any website information? Remind me on Monday, Chris, or send me a message offline. But I'll definitely. Who brought it to my attention? Someone brought it to my attention, and then I said, I know people are trying to start projects involved in sale, and I sent that out. So I will remind me or message me, Chris, and I'll give you that information. There is a price to go, but to me, that's an investment, not an expense.
Yeah, this will be a good one because affordable housing is the hot topic right now across Canada.
100%.
We need to be on top of what the strategy is.
IPV ADT, grant writing is a soul-sucking process and rejection cuts deep sometimes. Hey, I know, well, I don't know if it's still good. It's actually going to see what is the business like in grant writing now compared to a few years ago, because I think the demand may wane for grant writing because there's less grants out there.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're going to spend your energy somewhere, a marketing strategy and marketing execution would be a better use of your time and energy than sitting and spending a day writing a grant. And that's why we encourage people to just outsource that so that a person does the research and writes for you. And any grants that come in is icing on the cake. But the cake is the operations of your business.
Your
like you prospecting, cold calling, LinkedIn messaging, handing out business cards, going to networking events, doing the work. Like that is the substance of your actual business. So grants, yeah, that is icing on the cake. That isn't the main business.
Look, it's about doing the work.
Yeah.
Really and truly. I'll give a perfect example. There was an event that I went to in February. After the event finished, there was a person who came up to me and said, "Hey, I'd like to find out, get some mentorship from you. Let's set up a call." That person has introduced me to 4 different people in 4 different departments in this organization. To hopefully develop something in September. And this is crazy. We're going into serious bonus time. There's still a lot of people on here, which is fantastic. Keep the comments coming in. But AB, we Black folks are tired. Sustainable funding for the future of our businesses or organizations will not come from the government. Absolutely. Slow realization that our community is learning. Again, we've got to, it's the mindset.
But it can come from the government. So don't discount procurement and contracts that the government gives. We have to also do better at obtaining contracts from the government, because that can allow us to build bigger companies where we can hire more within our community. But that's an area that we have neglected big. And you know who's really good at that? Chris Callender, that runs, is it Chris Callender? He runs a business, a construction company that does the glass on high rises.
Right.
He is a person that we need to talk to about getting big contracts, procurement contracts, and understanding. Is it Chris Callender? Yes. I'll confirm that, but yes. They run, him and Sefton Spence run ACA, the Afro-Canadian Contractors Association.
We had one of the representatives on a while back, about 2 years ago, maybe now. We had
yes.
We had one of the one of those.
We should definitely get them to come back.
Yeah, well, and I think also too, people need to know how to play chess, not checkers.
we need to know what game we're in so that we can read the rules.
That's it. Okay. Wow. Oh, this is epic. Like so many people still watching. Thank you, family, for supporting.
Yeah, good to see you.
Oh, yeah, good to see you also. So let's close it down. So, as always, if you want to get a hold of the guy who's causing rumble all around the place, this is
Yes.
with him. All the deets, website, LinkedIn, Instagram, email. This is where you can get a hold of me, all the different places. You can watch replays of this conversation. YouTube, the Dr. Vibe. I took it down. Hold on here. I took everything down. You can watch replays of this Morning Vibe at the Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube and Facebook. Also, Afro Caribbean Business Network, Facebook and YouTube, and Ryan O'Neill Knight, YouTube, LinkedIn. And I think we've got that again by Black's Restaurant Week, May 20th to 26th, but conversations next week. Indie Soup TV, you can watch replays of this conversation.
That's nice.
Indie Soup Media. And what else? Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube. Hit the notification button and like on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. If you want to advertise your business, product, or service on the platform, please email me dr.vibe at the drvibe.show.com, and then join the Discord group by emailing me. So that's it, family. And finally, most importantly, happy Mother's Day.
Yes.
This Sunday. And one other thing, too. This is actually National Nursing Week. We didn't even get a chance to talk about that.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yes.
You know what? That's what we should have talked. Well, we got another, but nurses and Mother's Day would have been a great, but you know what? Want to make sure we got it in. So that's it. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher and wider. Love, faith, and respect. And don't just manage your time, manage your energy. And remember to give yourself grace. Thanks for hanging out with us, family. We rambled a lot today. You put up with us. So we will see you Monday on the Morning Vibe. If also Saturday, primetime Saturday, 7 p.m. and Sunday, Black Canada Talking. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith and walk good.